folks. Thank you. We're really grateful to be able to have these meetings, and we hope that we get a few more. I'm Paul Warner, a vice chair, Sharon Memmott, the other vice chair. As we get started, we have a couple of other of our board members. Do you want to indicate your name and what neighborhood you're involved with?
Sure. I'm Rhoda Goffin, and I'm with Indian Hills.
I'm Lynn Sorensen from the Pleasant View neighborhood.
And there should be 10 others. So as they come in, we'll spank them a little and give them the opportunity. Oh, it's come in. Yeah. So name and neighborhood.
Scott Murray with the Edgemont neighborhood with Sharon.
Right. You live right above the fire station.
Yes.
On Canyon Road. Yeah. Very good. Good to have you here. Tonight, we're going to begin with the word of prayer. Fred Lewis is going to offer that for us.
Our Father in heaven, we appreciate the freedoms we enjoy and appreciate the chance we have to be here as neighbors and discuss those things that pertain to our neighborhoods so that we might work for the betterment of our community. We thank thee again for all the blessings we have and appreciate thy hand in all the good things that we enjoy. And this we say in Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you. We'll now be led in the Pledge of Allegiance by Marion Monahan, and Marion will lead us out.
Please stand. Join me in pledging our allegiance to the most beautiful flag in the world, the Stars and Stripes forever. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks, Marion. It is the beautiful flag for sure. Even with the government shut down for a day or two or 3 or 4, we'll see how that plays out. So we're going to get right started. You that have an agenda, we're going to have Gary Winterton, former city councilman, come and talk to us about the RAP tax as he's leading out a charge on it. So Gary, happy to have you here.
Thank you, Shay.
Oh, you can. Yeah.
Then I can keep my papers a little bit straight.
I'm going to set my time. I appreciate you giving me 5 minutes of your time because this is important. And the RAP tax is, what is it? It is a sales tax. And it's 1/10 of 1%. So for every $10 that somebody spends in our community, we get 1 penny. Now that's not a lot when you think about the tax, but it adds up. Last year in Provo, we collected almost $1.9 million through this RAP tax. And the best thing about it is, in my opinion, is that it's not all just our residents that are paying. It's anybody that comes into our community, anybody that comes into a BYU football game and stays in a hotel or goes out to dinner after or before the game. All these people are inviting and they're helping us with our recreation, our arts, and our parks, which everyone uses. All the BYU students that come into our community that don't own property, they all participate. Anytime they buy an ice cream cone for their date or whatever, they're all participating in this tax. And it's a great way for us to use it. Now, I want to tell you about, it's a tax that we have to renew every 10 years. And we started off, we were one of the first ones in the state to have what they call a RAP tax. Some people call it other tax. In Orem, it's called a care tax. In Salt Lake, I think it's called a ZAP tax for zoo, arts, and parks. And so they're just different names, but they are all the same tax. I want to give you a list, just a quick shout out about the cities that do this in Utah County only. there's Santaquin, there's Payson, there's Spanish Fork, there's Springville, there's Mapleton, there's Highland, there's Cedar Hills, Orem, Linden, American Fork, Lehigh, Eagle Mountain, Saratoga Springs, Vineyard. All these cities have the same form of tax. And so we in the North End that live in the North End, whenever we go to Costco, you are supporting their care tax as well. And I hate to say it, I've done that, but I like to go to Sam's Club if we can, if it's in the way. But all these things, this tax is something that's really helped us out. Rachel, do you want to show a couple of, this is this amount last year, over the last few years, we've received $23 million through the RAP tax since 2019. And we have gotten over $50 million worth of value from this tax. The way we do that in our community, it's seed money. So we take this money and they say, okay, this is what we have to do. We have to give so much money and then we can get grants. And our Provo City Parks and Recreation and arts people are so good at getting grants. But our portion needs to come from somewhere. And this tax that we have is basically what we use for our capital improvements for parks and recreation and arts. And so this has become seed money for us to get $50 million to support our community and our parks. It is designated for that. It can't go anywhere else but for recreation, arts, and parks. It doesn't go to pay anybody's salary. It is seed money for our capital improvements to what we have in our community. Next, these are some of the things that we've been able to do over the years. I won't go through them all, but you'll be able to see some of these things. Let's do the next slide. This was the Rock Canyon Park a few years ago. You can see what it looks like. This is what it looks like now. And a lot of this has to do with the seed money that we got from the rat tax. And it's a beautiful park. We did the same thing at the mouth of Provo Canyon. There are so many things that we've been able to do. Our last year, we got $10 million worth of value from our RAP tax by putting in about $2 million. And a lot of that went on the trail, our Provo River Trail. Next one. It is also for the arts. That's my time. I'm going to stop in just a second here. This is for the arts. We do things in the Covey Center. These are some of the things we're able to do with our money. If you have any questions about that, we are supporting the arts with this. They're taking, it looks like about 25% of this RAP tax for our arts. Next one more back, just one quick. This is the priority that the Parks and Recreation Department is trying to put this in. Existing facilities, upgrading, improving the arts department, trailways, paths, trailheads. You can see where this money is planning on going for the next 10 years. Please encourage your friends. You are the leaders in this community in the northern part of Provo. I'm grateful for the time you give me. I'm going to give you a phone number. I have asked everyone, this is the last presentation that we've done, and I'm going to give you my phone number. I'm going to ask you if you can find anything that is inappropriate with a RAP tax, please give me a call. I've asked that for every presentation that we made, and I have not received one phone call. I would encourage you to invite your friends and neighbors to pass Proposition number 5, which will be our RAP tax. That'll give us some capital improvement funds for the next 10 years. Please know that our Parks and Rec department, our recreation and arts people spend that money very wisely. And so I'd encourage you to vote for this. My phone number is 372-6633. That's it's right here, and I'll answer it. And so if you have any questions, please let me know. Thank you for giving me a couple minutes today.
Okay, give Gary a hand. That's great. We're really appreciative, Gary, of your work on that. And if there are questions, are you staying around? Okay, you could grab him for some questions. That would be great. Second item on our agenda tonight is matching grants and community cleanup. And we have the fire department, Jeannie Atherton, with us, and she and Sharon are going to talk about some issues here. So Jeannie, if you want to come up.
As she's coming up, I'm just going to say, if it wasn't clear from his presentation, you've already been paying, we've been paying this tax for the last 10 years. This is just the rule that they have to send it back to the voters every 10 years. So I hope you'll continue to support what you've seen they've done with that money so far. And he mentioned matching grants really quick. I'm just going to say that's on there because as we talked about this cleanup, somebody mentioned a trail near Timpview. So if you have ideas for matching grants, this is a program. If you haven't heard about it, we'll chat with you afterwards because it takes a little bit of doing to explain. But the council recently, Ray City Council, voted to roll over our volunteer hours. So we already have accumulated time from the last fiscal year that we can apply to our new projects, any that you have ideas for this year. So contact whoever your representative is on the neighborhood board if you have suggestions for that project. And we'll turn it over to Jeannie.
Hey, thank you. So I'm Captain Jeannie Atherton with Provo Fire, and I am a deputy fire marshal, and I oversee our wildland urban interface program. And I presented this at all the district meetings. Who here has seen this before? So just a few. This is good because now we have a whole new group that hasn't seen it before. So what I'm going to do is talk about our program. This is a great time of year to do this because one, we're going into fall cleanup. So if people want to do work now, this is a great time to do it because it's not so hot. And then I'll kind of talk about our program and when it starts next year and exactly how it works. So will you go to the next slide? So we're going to talk about what is the wildland urban interface. It's a term or the WUI that gets thrown around a lot, especially with all the fires we've had this summer and the big one in California that we had at the beginning of the year. We're also going to talk about defensible space and how that's applicable to each of your own personal properties and why we need it, and also our program. So there's a really fancy definition for what the wildland urban interface is, but the real simple term that I tell everybody because it's easy to remember is it's undeveloped land next to developed land. So as you can see, these photos, these were taken in the draw behind Timpview High School. So that's a perfect example of undeveloped land that's next to developed land because you have this huge draw full of scrub oak and grass and some dead and dying trees, and then you have a bunch of homes up above it. So there are areas like this all over our city. Most of them are concentrated on the East Bench in District 1. Next slide, please. So what is defensible space? So that is the buffer between your house and your property and the surrounding area. And what that does is when you have defensible space around your home, it actually will slow down a fire. So in the example I showed behind Timpview, if people that live up on the top of that hill have created defensible space and there's a fire in that draw, having that space will actually slow that fire down if there's a fire that starts down in that gully and progresses up that hillside. The other thing that it does is, since it's slowing the fire down, it buys us time to get our crews into where we can get in to most effectively get in and extinguish that fire. Next slide. So this is a little video kind of showing why we need defensible space. Is there audio with that?
You might be thinking that as long as your house isn't on the
There we
edge
go.
of town, you don't have to worry much about it. The reality is everyone who lives in this community is at risk. And here's why. First, it's not the wall of flames from the wildfire that's most likely to threaten your home. It's the millions of embers.
Don't know why that's weird. Let's stop. There it is.
Let's say a
see if
wildfire
it
is
goes this
burning
time.
in a
Thank you.
nearby forest or shrub steppe and is now racing towards your community. You might be thinking that as long as your house isn't on the edge of town, you don't have to worry much about it. The reality is everyone who lives in this community is at risk, and here's why. First, it's not the wall of flames from the wildfire that's most likely to threaten your home. It's the millions of embers.
It does not want to work for whatever reason. Yeah. Anyway, so basically I'll just summarize the video. I won't do an interpretive dance, but I'll talk about it. So basically what it's saying is that if one person does it, it's great, but really we need everybody getting involved and creating defensible space around their home in order to protect our community as a whole. So it's great if we get one person, but if we get like everyone in the neighborhood to do it, that makes it even better. And then it talks about how we're kind of with wildfire danger, we're kind of all tied to each other and we're all in this together. So what our program does is we have a seasonal fuels crew that works for our department about late April, early May through August. And what we do is we go in and talk to residents in these high-risk areas and do home assessments of their home and property and give them definite ideas and direction as to what they need to do around their home to make it safer. And then the resident cleans out the stuff that we recommend they remove, and then they put it in front of their house. And then we come through with a chipper. We work with the energy department. They let us use a truck and a chipper to come in and clear all that stuff once they've laid it out in front of their home. And then we haul it down to the green waste dump. So it's been a very, very good program for us. We've done a lot of work with HOAs in the city. Quail Valley HOA and Edgewood HOA have done a lot of work. District 4 has done a ton of work on Grandview Hill by Lions Park, and then over behind Freedom Prep Academy. So it's just these projects kind of seem overwhelming in the beginning, but it's just starting, and we kind of lay out a plan of let's tackle the easiest stuff first and then progress on that through the summer and then into the next year. Because the reality is this kind of stuff is a continual thing that we have to work toward, because once we get it all cleaned up, it's going to grow back. You just can't get rid of it. So it's one thing we're very grateful for the mayor's support for this program and that we can offer this to residents. Okay, next slide. So if you have any questions, take a photo of this, and I'll leave some of my cards on this table in the back. If you have any questions about this, please feel free to contact me. That's my work line, but it goes to my cell phone, or you can just send me an email. And then when everyone gets a photo of that wants, we'll go to the next one. So this is if you would like me to come do a home assessment at your home, I'm more than happy to do that. If you scan this, it'll take you to a Google form. You just fill it out with your contact info. I'm probably likely going to be doing these starting in 2026 because the assessment tool that we use is being built by the state, and I want to use the one that's going to be kind of a uniform tool that all departments across the state are going to be using. It gives us a more consistent method to do these assessments. So you're more than welcome to sign up for one. I'll reach out to you and then give you an update as to when I might be doing them next year. So, and does anybody have any questions? Because this is usually, yes.
We hear that trees are great for the environment and take away pollution and all that. Are you telling us we need to cut down the trees around our house?
No, and that's part of the home assessment. What we do is we look at what you have. There's different zones around your home. The 5-foot zone around your home, there's a 30-foot zone around your home, and then everything that's beyond 30 feet. Each one of those zones, we have different recommendations for. So we will we're not asking anyone to cut down all their trees. What we're doing is trying to take your existing landscaping and make it safer and give you recommendations how to do that. So
Thank you.
yeah, that's a great question. Thank you. Any other questions?
So where's the money coming from this? Is it federal grant programs or the tax for just the RAP tax or where we're,
Oh, to fund our program?
yeah.
So our program is actually, so we have a wildland team of Provo City firefighters that we deploy on fires throughout the western US. I mean, we've gone as far as Texas before. So we generate revenue from that, and the funding for this program comes from the revenue that we generate from going on these wildland deployments to assist other states with wildfires. Any other questions? Yes.
So the corollary to that question, if we had some major fire event, let's say burned up Squaw Peak or whatever, then we would be in the hole to pay those other departments that came in to help us remediate or you know, put those fires out, right?
So every year, well, every 5 years, we sign a cooperative agreement with the state of Utah. And what that does is we sign that agreement and basically say, we are going to do X amount of dollars of mitigation work every year, so that if we have a big fire in our city that requires outside resources, the state pays for that. So we sign that agreement every year, and the mitigation work that we do throughout the summer actually counts as our participation commitment to the state, if that makes sense. So we have an agreement with the state. Every fire department does that. They implemented this in 2017 so that fire departments would not be stuck with these massive bills for fires that are in their city. So that's something that has been beneficial for all the departments in the state to do, so that if we do have a big fire that requires a lot of resources from other states, from our state or other states, we're not stuck paying for that fire. That's a good question. Any other questions? Okay, well, thank you. I will leave some of my business cards on the table.
Great. Thank you, Jeannie, for coming.
Uh-huh.
And I specifically asked Jeannie intentionally for her round. Because we had a neighbor reach out to us and want to start cleaning up the hillside. It's been pointed out to me that spring is a better time for this. But if you're unaware, if you haven't seen the signups, well, not signups, the flyers, the notices, the city does a fall cleanup, and that's begun. And Jeannie's offered to try to get some dumpsters, some extra dumpsters closer to our hillside. We're working on that. Don't quote me. But I do have a sign up sheet in the back, because I know our congregation is doing a cleanup on October 25th. So I'd love to magnify this process, because Rachel tells me that she has had BYU reach out to her, and the Young Republicans have reached out and said, we want to do some service. So I want to throw them at the hillside. So if you know of a place and a neighbor that might need help, sign that sheet. And my number's the first one on the top there. I'm Sharon Mehmet. Take a picture of it, text me, let me know where we should throw those young people that want to help volunteer clean up this. We will be looking forward to do a bigger thing in the spring, but I want to start, I should say, continue moving. We've been moving. We want to continue. As Jeannie said, this doesn't just, it's not a one and done on this. So sign up if you're willing to help. Sign up, because it'd be lovely to know how many people I might have from the community itself, so that we know how many trailers we need, what resources we need that day. We're going to try and get the Provo volunteer truck, so we might have some loppers. But if you have loppers, write it down so I know what I've got access to. All right. That's
Okay.
it for this one.
Thank you.
Thank you. In fact, Jeannie will come to, if you have a club or another group that meets, she came to our Provo Rotary Club and made a presentation, and we had some takers there, and she came and did an assessment. It was really well done. So I just might mention before I turn the time to Sharon, we have the mayor here with us tonight. You probably noticed her come in with her bodyguard. She's happy to have him. We have two city councilmen, Kaye and Christensen, and we're happy to have them join us tonight. So thank you very much. So the agenda we're a little behind, but we'll catch up here and we'll turn the time. Sharon's going to finish up the rest of the agenda for us.
Going to immediately turn the time over to Jessica for the annexation.
By the way, that October 25th clean it up is right after BYU cleans up Utah the week before.
Those are fighting words. Okay. I have a cold and I'm trying to keep it to myself, so I'll try to make sure I'm enunciating and you can hear through my mask. I was informed that you would like an update on the annexations that are happening in your area. So I just have a few slides to go over.
I'm sorry, we have George Bills's presentation first.
Oh, well, then George can come on up. If we want to, does this switch slides? Okay, yes. So George Bills is the applicant who's here for the Foothills Drive annexation. Here's the annexation area. There's just a small portion of land along Foothills Drive Foothill Drive that we want to bring, or George Bills is applying to bring into the city. This annexation has gone to council to get a resolution to accept the petition, and then it will be going back to city council for an ordinance. And George, if you'd like to come up and speak to the intent after annexation, then I'll turn that over to you.
Thank you. I'm George Bills with Gardner and Associates. If I could give you just a little quick history. All of that brown area originally was under one ownership from the lady. Probably if you've driven up there, you see she has a lot of sheep. She just kept on both sides. And many years ago, Provo wanted to connect Foothill with Canyon Road. They needed an access up there. So they did that, and it kind of cut her property in half. At the time, it was all in Utah County. Nothing there has changed. The city's property is all the way around it. She decided to sell off the red area right there, and the client who bought that would like to annex that into Provo City. The lady who owned the property on the south, still wants to keep hers in the county, and at some future time, maybe she'll decide to annex it in. But at this point, it's just our client that wants to annex in that red area that's up there. I know some are wondering, I've had some phone calls from people wondering what he's going to do with it. And to be honest with you, he said, I'm just going to leave it the way it is for a while. And so there are no future plans that I know of at this particular time.
What's his advantage to have that city?
Well, if in fact he decides to develop it in any way, you'll have to rezone it, but you have far more zoning options in the city than you do in the county. So that's one of the reasons for bringing it in. And also we have the city services that are there that will help develop the property a lot better. Mm-hmm. Is there any questions I can add or answer for anybody? Please.
What's the advantage to the city?
Is there any advantages to the city to have this annexation?
The biggest advantage is that it gets rid of this or reduces the size of unincorporated land in the middle of the city. Other advantages are mostly for the applicant who's wanting to come in. My understanding is that the city already provides some services to this area, but this way they're also going to be a part of our tax base and contributing to the services that they're using.
Just so you know too, if it's county-based right now, we do not get the property tax for Provo City School District. So that is also a pro to have this annexed.
They split the tax between any tax that's collected on that land divides between Alpine and Nebo District. And since we know that kids there are coming to our Provo schools, it's awesome from our perspective to have their property taxes feeding into the school system.
Why are they not annexing the part on the north side of the road?
On the,
Huh?
oh, over here, yeah. She just doesn't want to do it at this point.
Oh, the owner did not want to do it.
Yeah, the lady who owned all of that property in the brown, just sold off the piece that's in the red, and she just wants to keep that piece in the county.
Oh,
And
so
I suspect at some
she
point,
sold all the stuff on the south side of the road.
correct.
Okay.
What's the zoning going to be?
Yes, what's the zoning going to be when it's annexed?
So it will come in as agricultural. So it will continue its existing use.
So when they're ready to build or do something, develop beyond what's allowed in agriculture, we get to go through this process all over again.
Yeah.
So you don't need to feel like this will happen overnight or be worried about that.
The council changed the law a while ago, a couple of years ago, that all land that's annexed always comes in as Osprey or open space. So it keeps it.
So I listened to Planning Commission and
Oh.
they're allowed, if they're already using it as agriculture, to
To
come
be
in
ag,
as agriculture.
which is, yeah,
Or
they're both.
OSPR, they have to
Yes.
make that decision.
So they can't, basically, they're not zoned for development right away, is the bottom
Right.
line. So we have more control over that. They can't just automatically develop.
Thanks.
Okay. Now I'm going to give you an update on the other annexations that are happening in this area. And as part of that, I just wanted to go through the annexation process to development again, because it's very involved. So it starts with the annexation. That petition goes to council to be accepted. After that, it has to go back to council to be confirmed. They have to pass an ordinance for the annexation. Once we have that ordinance, the city sends it to the state to be certified. And once the state has certified it, then we can take it to the county to be recorded. And as we just talked about, properties coming into the city come in as open space or agriculture under certain conditions. So any development that has to happen will have to come back through a rezone. So planning will have to get a rezone application that will be reviewed by all of our departments, especially looking at capacity to provide infrastructure and utilities. I know that's always a big concern. And rezones have to go to Planning Commission to get a recommendation and then City Council. So the rezone gets multiple opportunities to come to a public hearing, so you can give your input multiple times. After a rezone, depending on the size of the development that's happening, they'll have to do a project plan. And once again, that has to be reviewed by our department and the other departments in the city, and then go to Planning Commission for approval. So once again, a lot of opportunities for public input. We want to make sure when we're bringing land into the city that the surrounding neighbors are aware of why it's coming in and aware of what's going to happen once it's in the city. So we have two annexations coming in right by each other. The first one is the Whitehall annexation. This is just two properties with single-family dwellings on them. There are no additional development plans for this. So it's been to City Council. The petition has been to City Council, and it will go back for the ordinance to be certified. But there's no further development steps for this annexation. The other annexation is
What is the address for that one?
Ooh,
So that one, if I understood your map correctly,
Yeah.
is just north of what I would call the pay horse property. It's just as you start heading down the hill.
it's directly off Canyon
It's on
Road.
Canyon Road, I apologize.
Yeah,
But just at the top of the hill. Right.
Yeah.
In fact, that road that you see on the north of the red line is the Indian Road Trailhead Road. Does that help?
Yes, thank you.
Yes. Yes, that's the 5491.
Yes, yeah.
Yes.
The other annexation, the Foothills Orchard annexation is actually right next to it. This one has come to you at a district meeting before when they were drawing up some potential concept plans, and just getting a feel for how the district felt about this annexation. At this point, the council has accepted the petition. And so they passed a resolution accepting the petition. It will go back to city council for an ordinance. This annexation involves multiple property owners, but the majority property owner does have development plans. So after this annexation is certified, it will come back for a rezone and a concept plan, and then a project plan. I can't speak at this point to any specifics about utilities or infrastructure, because we don't have the details of what the project plan is yet. But I can say that Public Works has been involved in this annexation and the potential with this annexation from the very beginning. And they feel confident that any development here, the developers will have the ability to provide utilities for it. And anything that is lacking, the property owners are aware they will need to subsidize to create the infrastructure to supply any development. That's all. Thank you.
I just wonder who you are. I mean, what hat do you wear? I didn't get that.
Yes, this is my hat. My name is Jessica Dahneke. I'm one of the city planners with Development Services. Thank you.
Okay, wonderful. And as Paul predicted, we're ahead of schedule. Kaye, did you want to mention Bunnells? Kaye, before you sit down. Did you want to mention Bunnells? We're 3 minutes ahead of schedule, so if you want to take one. Yeah. So Kaye Wheeler's involved in, you may have seen an announcement about a conservation easement that they're trying to do. Kaye Nelson, what did I say?
Wheeler, that's my maiden name,
Oh.
which I don't know why you know that, but
It's on Facebook that way.
well, I know, but
Well, that's why I know.
that cracks me up. I haven't
Okay.
been called that for a long time. Yes, so Bunnells Fork, we're really excited about this piece. It's up South Fork Canyon. It's one of about 11 parcels that Provo City owns that we have been working on about 4.5 years with the mayor and city council members to get it put into a conservation easement, which is a tool that protects it from being developed in perpetuity. And it's gone back and forth and lots of questions and hikes and all kinds of fun stuff that to get to this point. So we're really, really close to cross the finish line. Provo City is going to have an open house on October 25th at 9 o'clock up at South Fork. So there will be a table with people from Utah Open Lands who is writing and will manage the conservation easement. And then my group, Conserve Utah Valley, will be there to answer questions. And then we'll have a table there from Provo City. So just to answer questions up there, but it's a really exciting thing. We're really glad that we're at this point. And it's if you go up there, if anybody's ever been up there, it's just an amazing canyon that's beautiful to hike up into. I've hiked it in the summer, I've hiked it in the winter, and it's beautiful year round. So it's wonderful. There hasn't been a threat to develop it, but we're trying to be proactive and be ahead of the game and be ahead of the developers and make sure that it's taken care of and protected. And hopefully we'll have other parcels up there that we'll protect as well.
Where's that in relationship to South Fork and Big Springs?
So it's right at South Fork Park. The trailhead used to be just to the south of South Fork Park. It's actually on private property owned by a Giles family, but Provo City is working to realign and create a new trailhead that will probably come right off of South Fork Park. So you'll might just go right through the park to get up there. There is a way that you can do that anyway, but the official trailhead was kind of on private property and there was an understanding that people could cross it, but it'll be right there at South Fork Park.
Are there plans to expand the park? When I was a kid, you could go up there and plenty of parking, no one was ever there.
Now
You go
everybody
there
loves
now,
it.
you can't find a parking.
That's a Provo City question. I don't know if they're gonna expand
with the
parking.
mayor after.
Yes. Anything else?
I'm all for preservation, but I kind of have a problem with the perpetuity part. Is that definite that nobody in the future can change the classification for all time?
It depends on how the conservation easement is written, and there's a lot of people that are putting their input into it. So it'll be determined by Provo City people and some from Utah Open Lands and some from our group. So it remains to be seen, but that's really kind of a safeguard that it does protect it.
Okay, I can kind of help answer that as
Oh,
well.
good.
So my name is Malia. I work in the council office as a policy analyst. I assist the great Rachel over here. But so in perpetuity, yes, but we're equal partners in the conservation easement. Utah Open Lands is the nonprofit that is going to hold the easement. But in that easement, we're working with Parks and Rec, Public Works to make sure there's things in the easement that watershed and water infrastructure and also access for recreation is included in that. And so that Provo can still kind of have say in how that all plays out for the city and our interests. And because we're equal partners in that easement there, and we will still own the land. So Provo City will always be the owner of that. And so easements, the terms can change. That's something that can be written in and how that is done. But this just protects it. It's an extra layer of protection against developers it's just an extra layer of protection against developers simply. I won't get into crazy details, but if you have more questions, I can give you my contact and you can email me or call me and we can have a full discussion about details if you would
And
like.
Malia is amazing and
Yes,
she's
she
doing
is.
a ton of work behind the scenes.
What time is your open house on the
It's from
25th?
9 to 11,
Um,
9 to noon.
Oh gosh. Okay. See, I organized it and I don't remember. But yeah, I think it is. And we will have a guided hike
Yes.
also up the fork if you would like to. And I think that starts at 10.
Mhm.
So
Perfect. So you can go come clean up for an hour and a half at 8 till 9:30.
oh yeah, it starts
Go
at
on your hike.
9:30.
9:30.
So starts at 9:30
Come
and then
clean
a
up for
hike
an
at
hour?
10. So
Oh, even better.
yep.
Come clean up for an hour and a half and then go to the open house. Lovely. Thank you, Kaye. And now we're going to turn our time over to Andrew Feinberg from the MTC project. He's the architect there.
Okay, and as he's coming up, just to let you know, this is still in the idea phase. They have, as far as I know, they have not submitted an application with the city yet. Of course, after the application, it goes through a series of reviews and then I think this was a project plan. So it would just go to the planning commission, not the city council.
That's the way we understand it. Yeah.
But right now we're still in the idea phase. So we'll turn it over to Andrew.
Thank you, Rachel. I'm Andrew Feinberg. I'm with ZGF Architects. And this is the existing MTC. And there's been I guess I wanted to say that we presented this a couple weeks ago at District 5. And Sharon, you requested that we come here, and it's hard for me to turn down an invitation. So here we are. Sharing this information with you. This is the existing plan of the Missionary Training Center. The buildings to keep an eye on are the S1, existing S1 building, and the T2 building. As part of a master plan that was done quite a while back, the S1 building and the T2 buildings were all designated to be replaced at some point. They are both aging mechanically. They have structural seismic issues, and so it's great that we're finally able to work on some designs to replace these buildings. The S1 building is a cafeteria as well as an administration building. The proposed plan, we're splitting those uses. So the new S1 is just a dining facility, and the T2 building is now becoming an administration building. And reason the S1 building is kind of that shape is that we're keeping the existing cafeteria in operation while we build a replacement as shown here. So the area just to the north of that, which is that green area, that's where the existing cafeteria will be removed once the new S1 facility is up and running.
What's your anticipation
Time-wise, we are in what we call design development at the moment. And probably towards the end or towards the fall of next year, there may be some construction activity starting. This is a view of the new cafeteria building of S1 from the entry. And it's a brick building that is kind of, it's contextual with the existing brick buildings, if you're familiar with those there. And there were a lot of questions last time about tree preservation. And so we included this image, which shows actually how many trees are actually there and that you really can't see the building. But as architects, we like to show the building. But the reality is that there's a lot of trees on the 900 East side. So we've showed that there. And then this is a view, again, from the 900 East side from, let's say, just as you pass security into the campus. This is the new T2 administration building. They are linked together with a colonnade. And this building is mostly offices, administration, ecclesiastical, and all the other administrative components of that. And again, this is what it looks like without the trees. And here are the trees in front of the building. And that, I believe, that is the extent of our presentation. So we could open it up for questions now, if you have any.
So I know mine, I occasionally work on the campus. It looks like S2, the bookstore. And I noticed the parking near there disappeared on your second illustration. Will we be allowed to park underground, or where will we be going?
Oh, it's not the parking in the north part of the site there. That parking, we're maintaining as many of those spaces as we can. Yeah, that's not going away. This is just, this drawing is showing grading in that area.
Okay.
Because
Yeah,
the grade goes up very steeply to 900 East there. So yes, there's parking there.
And that, to that same end, I did have a neighbor approach me and say, and I mentioned this to you, but just for public record, that there's concern that your teachers come early, so they park in the print and mail, and then the print and mail people, when they finally come to work, are overflowing into the neighborhood. So there's concern. So if you can pass that on to administration or whoever needs to hear it.
We have passed that on. I don't know
Great.
what the response is yet, but they're aware of that.
Okay.
So what about added square foot? What square footage is going down and what square footage is coming up?
I have specific numbers, but generally we are, what we're taking out is a little bit more than what we're putting back. So there's I forget what the exact, there may be 5,000 square feet less than what we had there originally.
I understand there's supposed to be a hosting center. What does that amount to? And this has been in some of the written material. Also, what do you think the impact will be on traffic?
A hosting center. I'm not sure if I'm familiar with that. But this gentleman back here may be able to help you.
I imagine what you're referring to is the administration building is often where the Missionary Training Center hosts dignitaries from other countries and other people to teach them about the purpose of the Missionary Training Center. So I think that might be what it is. That happens often in the current administration building. So that activity would also be where they welcome dignitaries to the property.
So now I appear to be ignorant in front of my clients. So that's good. This traffic. There really is no net change to traffic in terms of the campus.
So is 9th East at the top of your?
Yes, yes, that's 900 East there. Yeah.
Will there be a change in the height of buildings? You mentioned the
Yes,
square footage would be smaller. That assumes more height, I guess.
correct. Because of the limited area for the new cafeteria, which is because we're trying to keep the existing cafeteria in operation, we have to go to a 2-floor cafeteria. And so for S1, the existing S1 looks like we are going to be 17 feet taller than the existing S1 building.
Which is still shorter than the buildings west of it, yes?
Yes, yes. The residential buildings are all taller than that. They're, I think, 4 stories typically. And the T2 building is slightly higher. It's about 10 feet higher than the existing T2 building.
When do you anticipate this remodeling and building might begin?
We're thinking that more larger things will start to happen towards the end, towards the fall of next year. There have been some what we call enabling projects happening, demolition here and there, and some interior remodeling that's required to move people out of S1 before we demolish the building. Typically, we like to get people out before we start taking the building apart, but that's
So this would begin before the temple is finished, is that correct?
I'm not sure the schedule on the temple. Okay. So yeah, it may be concurrent with some of that, I suppose.
Traffic.
Yes, Paul.
So the T3 and T4 teaching buildings are great. The foundations are still in for a T5. Is that possible in the future? And then secondly, the lights in T3 and T4 stay on like forever. And, can those be reduced by 50% after like 10 p.m. or 11 p.m.?
After our last meeting, when that was brought up as well, we did pass that on to the MTC, and they're looking into that. I think it's a system that allows them to control that. I think so, but it is in their hands, and hopefully they'll be able to give you some feedback on that soon. In terms of T5, yes, we designed that site where T3 and T4 are. It's the piece that's to the east there. But I don't know of any plans to build that. There is enough teaching in the T3 and the T4 buildings to support the operations in the MTC right now.
There's currently 2,800 missionaries in the MTC. The end of July, they had the largest group come in with over 1,000 missionaries came in one day.
As far as the cafeteria, what's the number of people that it's designed to serve now versus what it's designed to serve in the new version?
I believe the existing cafeteria has 1,150 seats. we're targeting around, I think, 1,250 or so. But it's really not about seats. It's about increasing the throughput of the serveries. That's been the biggest obstacle in the design of that, to make sure that because the missionaries have a limited time to eat, that want to make sure that they're not spending all of their time waiting in line for food, that they can actually have a more enjoyable dining experience. So those are kind of the metrics that we're working with. So we're trying to, we have added some more seats just so at peak times, which is in the summer, that everybody can be accommodated appropriately.
Other questions before we move on?
I'm here all night, so you can just.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And we're already, if Richard's up, are you okay with 5 minutes early?
Does this work? Yes, thank you. So I made this slide encouraging people not to hold their breath until the next accident on 2200 North. You can breathe now because we had one last Saturday. But this is the first in about 7 months. Pardon me? Another accident yesterday. Please help us keep track of those. I'm coordinating a little working group that's working with traffic manager Vern Kiesler to try to come up with solutions that will promote safety, that will preserve a neighborhood, and that will allow reasonable throughput for our street. And here's a situation we find ourselves in. The last slide you saw, oh, by the way, I guess we can figure this up. It was 6 months, now 2 within a week. And so that's shot. But we hope we can do better. So we are here. Let's see, it goes like this. Our little street is here. This is University Parkway. This is 9th East. This is kind of close to the place of 9th East in that slide that you saw. Now, we would prefer, as a neighborhood here, that people coming from here to there, or people going from there to here, use this instead of this. And so that's something we would really like to work on. In the meantime, Provo City has accelerated their purchases from willing sellers of our neighborhood homes. And now we have, let's see, 5 or 6 gone. We think there could well be a domino effect here that will affect morale, property values, so forth. And the city is not forcing people to sell. They're making it quite attractive to people to sell. And so things happen, and we want to call attention to the fact that we don't think the city needs to do this. Thank you. If we're working on this, and we hope that people will have patience in helping work through us and trying to accomplish the things that need to be done. Any questions? Yes. Who calls on questions? Do I?
Could we have specifics on what the city's plan is for this road? We've heard rumors, and I don't know if the city's made an announcement or if a formal announcement of a 5-lane highway going up through there.
There was talk of a 5-lane highway, and then in the 2020 plan, we got weasel words. And it said capacity and safety improvements, and that some further study was needed. And that's the way it sits now. One of the alternatives we're told that's being considered is that they will demolish all the homes on the north side of 2200 and create there a 2230 5-lane road with a frontage road on the existing 2200. So that, I think, is probably for many people, the preferred scenario, and for us, it's the nightmare scenario that we don't think is necessary, but that's one of probably several possibilities. Mr. Kiesler seems to be indicating that that's not set in stone and there are alternatives, and we hope to explore those with him. Bill?
Two questions. One is, what is the difficulty in routing traffic to go up the University Parkway approach up to 9th East, past the baseball stadium, football stadium? And then two, what other alternatives have been looked at? Have they looked at doing two one-way roads that are not so grandiose and taking up so much space?
The other one-way road would go past two schools. Not a great idea. It's a 20-mile-an-hour road during school hours. It's if we were to route that kind of traffic on that road, I think we'd have a disaster. But if you have a viable, two one-way road proposition, maybe one over half a mile away or something, we'd love to hear it. Rich? Well, so how do they route it? Now, there are a number of things that we think could be done to encourage it and make the flow on University Parkway and the right and left turns that would be involved more effective and more attractive. So, it's more attractive when you're coming north on 9th East to continue at 35 miles an hour and then turn down the other side of the triangle than it is to go 30 miles an hour down University Parkway. We don't think people ought to be cruising at high speeds on 2200. And before a traffic study was done, there were people averaging, I think it was 42 miles an hour in the one direction. There's the other questions.
All right, so
Rich?
yeah, this comment kind of speaks to that. Coming from north, I guess coming down University Avenue, Google always suggests going up around that other way, and so my observation. And then one time I thought, well, okay, I'm part of the problem if I go that way, so I'll come down to University Avenue, and it seemed like, or down to University Parkway, and it seemed like I waited an extra long time to make that left turn. So maybe it's a traffic engineer kind of issue, but I think the bottom line is it's a path of least resistance. The traffic's going to go where it thinks it's going to get there the fastest because everybody's in a hurry. And so, if Google is suggesting going that way, well, then Google thinks that way is faster, going through 2200 North instead of around the other way. And so, in my mind, perhaps some sort of solution to slow people down, make it less attractive to go that way. That would be part of what it is. And I don't know what we can do as neighborhood residents to do that, but traffic's going to go where the path of least resistance is.
Google kind of varies at one point in response to a question from somebody off near 9th East and coming north. He said, I go down your street all the time. What are you going to do about it? I looked at Google Maps and it actually had him going 9th East down to Timpview Drive and then north for a half a mile and then cutting west. So I guess it varies from time to time, but we really would like to see things done to improve the use of and encourage the use of the University Parkway, which is the one side instead of the two sides of the triangle. This is a long cut that people take instead of University Parkway.
So we have one online comment first.
What I'm worried about are all the children that live in our neighborhood that are on the south side, and they have to go clear up to Timpview Drive or clear down to University or Canyon Road.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't.
So, and they're crossing very close to a hill that has poor visibility.
And so are you thinking of putting a crosswalk in
the city
there,
has really seriously considering that it would involve a property acquisition that's not in play right now. You have it
So-
online?
I do have an online comment.
Yes, I have multiple and they're still coming in, so.
Okay.
Okay, this is all from the same person and I'll try and summarize. We haven't been approached in regards to the changes. We've just been told our house is on the list. So if we do get approached to sell, do we know what the incentives are? How do we know we're not getting a horrible trade-off from this? And what is the timeliness or timeline of this project? So that's the first person.
Shall I try to deal with that?
I mean, you can, or we can
yeah.
write it down and pass it on to city
Okay.
staff to get an answer.
If you have time, I'd be happy to do something quickly.
It's
We're
not-
told that
it's up to
this is about a 2035 project. And the way it happens is the city will offer fair market value to a willing seller. They don't approach people first, but if somebody hears that the city is buying places, they will pay them fair market value using funds that are derived from our automobile registration, the county registration. And so the city is looking at probably $20 million worth of home buying in order to knock these down. But then if the people want to rent the home that they've sold, they let them do so for as long as they want up till the place is knocked down for $100 a month. Now that's quite an incentive. Okay. Does that answer that question?
Yeah, I have more
Okay.
online, Sharon. You just let
Go
me know.
ahead.
Okay. Next one. Well, these two are like the same question. Why didn't they build a bridge or speed bumps or just additional stop signs?
Where?
So
Bridge?
we've been asked that question multiple times. The city does not like speed bumps because of snowplows. Sorry, it doesn't work well in our city because of the snow. The bridge, I know nothing about. I've never heard about that.
That would probably be a traffic bridge at 250 north, east approximately. And it's school children crossing the street. The city doesn't like to spend huge amounts of money to make a bridge over roads. Maybe it could be in play and under some circumstances, I don't know.
And I'm going to direct your attention to the screen, which looks like it's on the website, Provo City website.
Right. So on the Provo City website, this is new. It's a fact finder, factfinder.provo.gov, and kind of different topics that people have a lot of questions on. So this is one of them. And this is the official response from the city. It also gives you the contact information for Vern Kiesler, our traffic manager. That gives you some idea as far as the years, kind of what's going on, what level of service it's on right now, and contact information. So that is on the Provo City website.
So yeah, it looks like we have one more question. Go ahead.
It occurs to me that we ought to be hearing from the city planning people or the city council or the mayor on this issue. We're kind of getting it through a resident who's working hard to do something well, but we're not hearing, at least I haven't been in a meeting where the city planning department is explaining this project. It seems like it's being done somewhat secretly, or at least not for open discussion. I wonder why we're sitting here just sort of hearing about it now and not having something more formal that we can learn from and discuss.
I guess I would just ask, do we really want to try to bring this complicated issue to a head by bringing all the dignitaries and all the attention to it right now? Or maybe there's a point in seeing if some things can be worked out. Excuse me, Mayor.
And we do have, and I can let the mayor address this if she wishes, but to your point, it helps Vern and the city if they work. As you'll see, they have many committees across the city working on many, many different projects. So Richard was just here to kind of give you an update on where they're at in this process. If you want to weigh in on the process, I'm sure Richard would love to hear your input or add you to his committee. rather than 100 of us all contacting Vern with our own individual opinions. So, and that will kind of come back to our traffic study, which is at the end of the agenda. Because many people ask for things and they can't do them all. So that's why we kind of form these committees. We can also hold just a Pleasant View neighborhood meeting in between our regular district meetings. We don't have to just do this every 2 months, whatever we're at. I've had 3 hands hit me, and I'm going to give to the mayor first, and then Melanie, and then online.
We meet every month in a working group. We would love you to join us. This is an unfunded project. There's not a dime in place for it. It's projected 2035 to 2040 at the soonest that any money would even drop to fund this. In the meantime, we're meeting every month and we are talking about it, and it's an industry in the master transportation plan. Are you familiar with that? So the city council every 10 years adopts a master transportation plan. And in 3 years, the master transportation plan will be ready to refresh and adopt. This has been sitting on the master transportation plan since 1977. So it's been there a minute. The fact that it's upsetting is we're worried because, again, just hearing our latest numbers were 19 accidents. Now I'm hearing there's 20, 21 accidents. The topic for this next monthly meeting on 2230 is the accidents. We would love you to join I'm not in those meetings. It's a Vern and working group, but we would love you to join them if you would like to give me your name and number.
Invitation was limited, so we've got 7 people. We appreciate input, but.
So this is your guide then to give
Vern
the
doesn't
input
want
to?
a bigger group.
That's helpful. So again, so you'll be able to, when the council has to adopt a master transportation plan, which they do every 10 years, this will be on it again. And that before it's adopted, when they start holding the meetings, the neighborhood meetings, the public meetings, because it's a process. It's about a 9-month process we go to work on, and we open up to the public. They come in and neighborhoods say, we hate this road. We want this road. Every neighborhood, it feels like it has a 2230 almost in the city, but that's your opportunity to come in and say, it's on the master transportation plan. The council's going to adopt it in the next such and such meeting in 6 months. What's your feedback? We'll hold open houses at the rec center. It's a big deal. And then that master transportation plan sits for 10 years until the council refreshes again and looks at it and we do the open houses again. Again, 2230 has been on it since 1977. It's unfunded. There's not a dime in there for it. And the projection is they'll start looking for funding around 2035, 2040.
City buying those homes now says something.
It's interesting because it's called Corridor Preservation Funds. The city does not buy them. The MPO for the whole county gets federal money from the federal government every year. This year, Utah County got $6 million in federal funding for corridor preservation. Payson, every city uses it. And what that money is, it's either used or lose it. It's money that they say, if potentially in 30 years, this road might need to be widened, or in 15 years, we might need to put a water tank here and there's a home, then they use those funds only if the seller approaches the city. Then that's the funds they pull out of, is this MPO money that's not the city's. We don't do the money. The MPO does. And then they will not approach. They wait for them to come to them. Then we buy it at fair market value, which we turn around and say, and plus, if you want to rent back your home in perpetuity until a project like this gets funded, it's $100 a month.
So we don't know what this does to property values in, say, the south side of the street that is not going to be, homes are not going to be bought by Provo City using these funds. But there's this project looming over everybody in the whole neighborhood is an alarm for now 10, 15 years.
I just wanted to mention that with the children crossing the street there, we have had talks with the community councils, both at Centennial and at Rock Canyon, to make that safer for those kids to cross. And he's correct that we're waiting on one house on that corner to be purchased. And then they were talking about putting a stoplight in there so that they can cross safely. But we've been working on this for a long time, and it's coming down to that house right there.
Thank you.
There's one online.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, who in Provo City could be contacted to explain more about this incentive for renting post-purchase? It is purchased by Provo City. It's Provo City's property, and then but using the MAG funds. That's correct. But because it seems like giving an incentive for renting at $100 a month is a net cash loss to Provo City in the interim. And so it actually ends up being an additional sales incentive to the property owner. And I've got some initial concerns about how that meshes with the corridor preservation fund and the intent for that. So who in Provo City would best be contacted about that?
Oh, the mayor? Is it, or Tara Riddle, or is it best to speak to you, Mayor?
Tara is the one that is our property manager, and so she is the one that takes the federal funds and manages those. So it would be Tara that, but I'm happy to meet with you too, Paul, and sit in the room and hear everything.
Our last
comments, but yeah.
Okay.
Okay, this is from the same person. I'll summarize again. If we don't decide to sell, will the city eventually use eminent domain and take the home? Will there be any type of negotiation at that point? And if you're saying the plan to demolish the house by 2035, are you recommending us to sell the home already before that time? So that's the first person. And then I'll go to the second person's comments. Just because something has been on the plan since 1977 doesn't mean it has to continue to be. More studies need to be done. And speaking as someone living on the north side of 2200 North, feeling at risk of losing my home.
Did you want to address that, Mayor?
Yeah. So I think it's on. So I'm just here to tell you, I have never heard the term eminent domain used on any roads. It's interesting how it gets swirled up in people's minds and that the red flags arise and everyone panics. There is no talk of eminent domain. I'm here to tell you. And I think our friend has heard that in his monthly meetings. That is not what Provo City is about. It's been on the plan since 1977, and you will get a chance if you want it off the plan. When the city council has to in code redo the master plan, that's your opportunity to come in and petition and say, you know what, we just want it completely off. And so you will have a chance to move the needle on this at that point. And again, nothing's happening until we open it up for the whole year of discussions of adopting a new master transportation plan. And I think in less than 24 months, we'll start the town halls and public meetings, and people will come in from all over the city. We'll have maps all over because there's a lot of roads that people have concerns about, as they should. It's their homes, it's their neighborhoods. But the word eminent domain, it's fascinating to me that folks even use that term when I have never used that once in all my leadership. That's just not the way we run this city.
Okay.
If it's, well, there's certain restrictions. The only time I've ever heard of it, ever used in the history of the last 4 mayors, was when they were building Lakeview Parkway.
To be built the Covey Center, we had to use eminent domain. I was on the council at the time, that hotel that used to be right here. We used eminent domain to take over that hotel so the Covey Center could be built.
What about the double tracking area for Front Runner?
That's not our project. I woke up to hearing about that as well. That's a state project. And if you look at the city count, we're nodding our heads. I was conducting the Division of Water Quality Board meeting up in Salt Lake when I woke up to that headline. That was a huge mistake by UDOT. They should have given us a heads up. But again, frankly, when I told them they owed us an apology, they don't care. It's their project. And Mayor, sorry, we should have told you we were going to announce this today. That's about as much as I got.
Okay, sorry to end on what feels a little downer.
It
If-
does feel,
if
it is
you-
a downer.
If you
by the
want to
way.
give some input on this project, on this road, I would start with Richard Jensen. If you don't have his contact, go through Rachel Breen. You should all be able to reach her through the city. Or it sounds like the mayor would be willing to talk to you too. So we're going to move on real quick
Could I just
to,
clarify?
yes,
I didn't suggest that eminent domain is being used. That's not
Right.
been mentioned in meetings.
right. So, you have some avenues. I don't want to leave you feeling like you have no voice. Contact the mayor, contact Rachel if you need to get to Vern Kiesler or to Richard Jensen. Because as he mentioned, Vern tries to keep his meetings small enough he can hear all the people. So give your comments to Richard or Lynn, who is your district neighborhood chair for Pleasant View. And they will make sure to pass them on, I promise. I've seen them do it. So we're going to turn the time over to Rachel Breen for a few minutes for the next two items. The next one is also Pleasant View, and then the next one after that is the far north end of our district.
Okay, I was asked to give an update on the salmon property at 2044 North Canyon Road. This is the long glass lofts. This is a rendering from the concept plan. So the concept plan, zone change, and general plan amendment, those have already been approved. So right now they're working on the project plan, which is the details of the project. That is still in the review process. Currently, the city is waiting for revisions from the applicant, and those revisions have been requested by Public Works and Power. And it's just a back and forth with them submitting plans, the city saying, this doesn't meet code, you need to change this, and kind of a big back and forth. And there is a development agreement with this project. The height is limited to 30 feet. The units are 14 units, which are for sale units. And that the HOA CCNRs will require that first year owner occupancy. And if you have any questions on this project, you can contact Aaron Ardmore. He is the city planner over this project. Again, this is 2044 North Canyon Road in the Pleasant View neighborhood. And then the next one.
While you're switching, Rachel, I'm
yes.
sure the question is, this is where the former video store, I don't know what all stores, it's been a repair shop. It's that lot.
Oh, okay.
Just to put it in your head.
Oh, thank you. Gotcha. Okay, and this next one, this is the Pleasant View neighborhood, 2000 North Canyon Road. This is the Stadium View project. This is the one that's on that hill. It's a 19 lot single family home subdivision. The concept plan and zone change have already been approved. Right now, they are asking for a preliminary subdivision. It is, Public Works is asking for a lot of revisions on this one. So again, it's in that review process where they're going back and forth, making sure everything meets code. And Nancy Robison is the one to contact on that one. But that's the information I have on those.
And that one's immediately south, but just north of Stadium Terrace.
Yes, Mr. Evans.
Could you update us on when these projects will next have a public review?
I cannot because I don't know how long they're gonna be in the review process.
Rather
Um,
than when, then where
Oh,
and before
oh,
whom?
where?
What,
Oh,
what will
okay.
be the next public review
Oh,
process?
sorry, excuse me. So this one here, the long glass lofts, that one is a project plan. So that will most likely go to the planning commission. I don't know when it will. And then this one is a subdivision and those are decided by staff. Those do not go to public hearings. And
You can contact those planners and give input if you have comment or question you want to give
Right.
on the project.
on that.
So-
And, okay, do you want me to go ahead to the next one? Okay, as for an update on Indian Road Trailhead, Provo Power had sent out this social media post back in July talking about that the Indian Road Trailhead parking lot would be closed because of the Gillespie substation rebuild. So I asked for more information. And so I asked them, what is the project? So they're rebuilding the entire Gillespie substation. They're replacing the old equipment and more than doubling the capacity of the substation, which will make our system more reliable, especially in the event of unexpected large emergencies. When asked why, again, it's critical to our system. They have two main points of interconnection to our transmission needs, the Gillespie substation and the Tanner substation in South Provo. So this allows for redundancy. And then the benefit will be for like 50 years or more. So they realize it's an inconvenience for users of the trailhead, but it's a massive multi-million-dollar project that's critical to our power system and infrastructure. And again, we asked, are you redoing it? And these are the questions that we received. Yes, it's outdated equipment. They're installing new equipment and infrastructure. What's the timeline? They expect the project to be completed 1 year from now in September of 2026. So another year. And how long do you expect the trailhead to be closed? The parking lot is closed, but they have been allowing very limited parking. They plan to reopen the parking lot on December 1st. The trailhead is officially closed until December 1st, but the trail is still open. And then people were wondering why they're hauling out fill. But it's because they're doubling the size of the substation. So the footprint is significantly bigger. And so in order to support the transformers and the infrastructure, they're having to haul out fill and replacing it with new, better fill. And people have been wondering what it's going to look like when it's done. They said the substation will be a larger version of what was there, but the average citizen probably won't notice that much of a difference rather than a larger footprint size. And no changes to the trailhead, just to the parking lot and substation. The parking lot will be shortened on the west side, but will be increased to the north. And I think that was it for that one.
Thank you. And the last item on our agenda says traffic studies. So this kind of goes back to a little bit what Richard was talking about. As we mentioned, Vern Kiesler is over traffic in the city. And he's had multiple requests for many traffic studies, and it's gotten a little overwhelming to him. So he's asked that each district only submit 5 per year. And I asked Rachel, and we've already done 4 for our district, and I've had 2 more requests. Can't do them. So the one that we're going to put priority on is Dahneke Drive, who's the first one. And the other one was up near Cherokee. So unless something else comes more pressing before January, then we'll ask that one be put on the list in January to be one of our first traffic studies. If you have somewhere that you think in our district needs to be addressed with a traffic study or some kind of change, Why didn't we put a stop sign somewhere? I know they've done a traffic study on 2230, what they would call recently, so I don't know that they'd be willing to do one again 2026, but we can ask.
Yeah,
So-
Vern requests that there's 3 years between traffic studies.
And do you know when that one was done? I know it's
While
been,
she's looking that up, Vern called me the other
Yeah.
day and we talked about him doing a quick review of coming up Iroquois Drive, up the hill and down as it turns east. I
and
think
I don't know the
Mayor,
area
you
well
are
enough. Is that
aware of that,
the
so
Cherokee one?
he
Rhoda?
is doing that.
I'm sorry, the Iroquois, what part of it?
Iroquois Drive on the north, it's just as you come up the hill
Uh-huh.
on Iroquois and then it turns and goes east.
Uh-huh.
As people come up that hill and come down there, a lot of speeding that goes on there and he's checking that out.
Yeah, it's the steep hill, right? It goes all the way up to what Coyote is at the top. Cars do go fast. I don't think there's quite as much traffic there as the Cherokee traffic. What you have at Cherokee is people are coming down from Foothill. They go through some S turns when they hit onto Cherokee, and then they're speeding up on Cherokee to go out to Indian Hills or also to Iroquois. And in the last couple of years, the volume of traffic has gone up. The speed of traffic has gone up. We've had people actually lose control of their cars and end up in people's driveways and on their property. No actual accidents, but also the neighborhood is aging. A lot of younger families are moving in. The number of kids that we have that are under school age that are out and riding scooters and bikes and running across the street and playing with their friends has gone up. A number of us have actually been out on the street asking people to please slow down. And I've even yelled at drivers because they were about to hit a car or a kid. And I know the parents who live on that street are terrified that it's going to be a fatal accident that's going to cause somebody to do something. So we would at least like to have monitors there to actually get the speed so that we can get a better sense of what's really going on. The Dahneke part, if that's okay, if I continue. Dahneke, there's not a ton. I was just asked by Scott what can actually be done. It's a very narrow road. It's narrower than a lot of the others. It's like some of the older city district roads. I'm sorry?
When people park on Dahneke,
It is a real problem. And also older homes, now younger people moving in, they have kids. They're either going up the hill to go down to the Timp High School Trail, or, down the road. There are no sidewalks there. So if cars are parked on both sides and then the properties are right up to the road. So there's only like 2 properties on the whole side that have something that isn't obstructing right in front of their house. And so what ends up happening is kids are walking in the street, cars are trying to come down both ways. We also have now development down at the bottom of the street, so there's big trucks. We have an alleged bed and breakfast that probably shouldn't be there that has lots and lots of cars. And so we've got a real concern that there are problems there. People also ride their bikes down that, and we've had at least 3 accidents that I'm aware of people actually hitting people on e-bikes, and one near accident last month where the driver is still shaking and telling people about it. So she fortunately didn't hear Karen, but she told everybody in the neighborhood. So obviously it was a big concern. So we're concerned that there is parking there. There's also some illegal rentals there, so they don't have enough parking spots. So yes, I know I have some enforcement things to deal with, but we've got some real concerns there. We'd like to see maybe alternate side of the street parking, or no parking on the street, or something that at least leaves some kind of clear path for people who do need to pass. And maybe some better signage. There's blind corners that you're turning. We've also had deer, bobcats, yeah, or cougar, depending on your preference, and turkeys and all sorts of things. So it is a tragedy waiting to happen as well.
Okay, so you've heard some of the discussion and thought that goes into this. And that's kind of why Vern has tried to put a little bit of a buffer, I guess, for himself. So if you feel like there's a problem, again, as I said, bring it to us or your neighborhood, your specific neighborhood chairperson. And you heard some of what Rhoda was saying. Get some thought behind it. Don't just say, hey, I hate 2230. We need they'd love some suggestions, or what is your specific problem? I know just farther down Dahneke, if you were here at our last meeting or the one before that, Vern did come and talk about some of the traffic calming measures he's planning to put on 2950 between Timpview Drive and Canyon Road. So they are working on it. They are listening. They just can't do everything at once. And as the mayor pointed out, our fun northeast area isn't the only part of the city that needs attention. So we have to share. That's everything that's on the agenda. We have a few minutes for public comment. Yes, Malia. Malia has a public comment.
And I just want to say real quick, on the Neighborhood District 1 webpage, which is on the Provo City website, that's where we have listed the traffic studies. And you can go in and see when they were done. Like the last one for 2200 North was in 2024. So we'll need to wait for 2027 for another one. But you can see what those have been done.
This is a public comment that's a continuation of 2200 North. And it's a question posed to city staff, which is me, but I don't know. If we vote on the master plan, will the city sell the homes it currently owns on 2200 North? So that's a question I said we would pass along to the administration, but also if anyone here knows. Yeah. They're asking if 2200 North expansion comes off the master plan, will the city then sell the homes that it owns along 2200 North?
Right. So that would be for the administration, and you will get their name and number. Maybe we can just have the correct.
Already have it.
Perfect. Yes, Joseph.
I don't know if the right people are here to answer this, but the crosswalk at 3700 North and 180 East, the city repaved that section of road several weeks ago, and they restriped everything, but the crosswalk is not. I called 311 and they said something about waiting for some school board or some city planning commission to approve something. And I drive down there every day, multiple times. Oh, 3700 North, 180 East. And it's hard enough to get people to stop at marked crosswalks, but it's been multiple weeks. I go down there every day, and especially the high school students, because the elementary ones have typically have a crossing guard. But the high school students, I see them, they're sometimes waiting multiple minutes on one side of the road, waiting for traffic to stop. No one does. And then it's, oh, there's a break. And they just bolt across the road as fast as they can. And I'm just concerned somebody's gonna get hit there. And so I'm just wondering what do we need to get that painted again?
Well, my question would be for the school board, if possibly it was taken off of a safe routes and they're not coming back.
I haven't heard anything about this one coming off, but I will bring it up at the Edgemont Community Council.
Okay, there you go. Any other comments before we?
Yes, I'm Lynn Sorensen from Pleasant View Neighborhood, and we are lacking a second representative from Pleasant View to the district board. I'm it. Somebody needs to be right there. And that is also true with Riverwoods. There's only one representative. We need two. So if you are in either of those two neighborhoods, please go online and apply to join us on the district executive board. And as long as I have the mic, I'm just going to make one last 2200 comment. I know the mayor said, really, this is not going to happen for like 20, 25 years, except that it's happening right now. The houses are being picked off and sold one by one, by one, by one. So it is actually happening now. So I will ask you, Mayor Fusi, and also our two councilors, McKay and Christensen, if you would not join us in asking for a pause on these purchases until we can work with Vern Kiesler on safety and those matters and work at it here now, which is needed. Safety in all flow and everything is needed now. And let's put a pause on this. That's not going to happen for 20 or whatever, however many years that is, because that is what is happening right now. Thank you.
Any other comments? I see. Oh, you're raising your hand for the mayor.
So we have put a pause on MAG money coming into the city. The last one was already in the works. Can't remember his name. Yep, Lee Camard. He had already approached the city and the paperwork had begun when I asked for the pause. And so they told me that one had to go through, but we're in a pause mode with the MAG money on 2200 North, just so you know.
The other issue with those purchases is this maintenance of those properties. Even though it's $100 a month, they don't necessarily take good care of the property. And when those people the one house that's on 250 East on the corner of 2230 North and 250 East that's owned by the city, I know the tenant there calls constantly on issues, the sprinklers are broken or whatever, and no one ever comes out. So just the maintenance on those properties that are purchased. It's the housing authority on that one, but they're not very responsive. And he's asked, can you just leave some fertilizer or some tools or whatever, and I'll do it myself. But you have a whole parks department and they don't seem to speak back and forth.
So I had to ask Catrice because Council Member McKay sits on the Housing Authority. Yeah, and she can speak to this. So yeah, Malia has a mic.
Yeah. So I do know the owner there, and it's been a huge problem. And I've actually met with Tara Riddle about it. And there was some issue with the flooding in the windows at one point. That needs to be addressed. I'm on the board of the Provo Housing Authority, so I'll bring that up. I didn't know that was still an issue. I thought we had dealt with that. So that's disappointing. I'll talk to the Housing Authority and see. Because I've noticed the unkeptness. Like Michael keeps it kept, but the other house on the other at the end of the east, well, that's not owned by us, that one. But the far northeast one is, and it has deteriorated since we've owned it.
Cool.
Oh, well, is it or isn't it? Okay. Okay.
All right. Thank you so much for coming this evening. Did you have a public comment? Okay.
I'm still here. My name is Jack James. I'm with the Utah County Young Republicans. I came here at the request of Rachel because we decided that we wanted to help with the community improvement projects, cleaning up, cutting shrubs, stuff like that. We have many young, strapping men capable of doing stuff like that and being perfect slave labor because you're not going to pay them. So please utilize us. Please plan community improvement projects. It's a big part of our ideology as young Republicans to help improve our communities, beautify them, make sure they're safe. Thank you.
And write your name on that list. Write your name on the list at the back. Okay, perfect. All right. If there are no further comments, we are so grateful you've come tonight. Thanks for your input, and definitely contact Jack at least. But anyway, we'll coordinate. We'll get this done. All right. Thanks very much.